So today was a pretty exciting day for me because the PragerU video that I filmed 2 months ago premiered this morning, and I'm really excited about it. If you have not yet watched the PragerU video, you want to just stop right now. Go watch the video. The link is in the description below because I am actually in this video going to be responding to some of the more nasty comments that I've gotten from the PragerU video so far. But before we get into that, I just want to say, listen, I never in my lifetime thought that I would film a PragerU video. I think that's a little bit insane, but awesome at the same time. It is about my Trump rally story, so for those of you who might be a little bit newer to my channel, really how I got started talking about politics and culture and all that, it was a total accident in which I went to a Donald Trump rally when I was still a Democrat. I was a Democrat for 20 years, from the time I was 18 years old up until a couple of months ago, and I ended up going to a Trump rally because I live in New Hampshire, and I had seen literally every Democratic candidate in person at one point or another, and when I learned Donald Trump was coming to town the day before the New Hampshire primary, I just thought, well, why not go? It'll be a spectacle if nothing else. And so the PragerU video talks about me going to the Trump rally and all that good stuff, but definitely, if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. Go watch it before you watch this video because, of course, PragerU definitely has, always has a little bit of controversy around it in terms of how the left perceives it and how they come after them and how they try to frame it as a nefarious propaganda arm of who knows what. I will say that my experience with the PragerU folks was fantastic from start to finish. They were very easy to work with. They were great. I had approval over everything, so they were very concerned with making sure I felt comfortable, and I'm super happy with the final product. But what I thought would be fun to do in this video is just to maybe respond to some of the more trolly comments that the video has received so far, and in the process of doing so, hopefully I'll also answer a couple of questions that I think are actually legitimate questions that people who maybe don't follow me or maybe haven't watched every single video I've done, they're actually legit questions that have come up too. So that's what we're going to do in this video, but before we get into that, one quick housekeeping order of business. Listen, folks, I'm trying to grow the channel. If you like what I'm doing, if you want to hear more from me, please make sure you hit subscribe, turn on those notifications, give this video a thumbs up, all that good stuff. Another way that you can support my channel is by becoming a monthly patron on Subscribestar, by making a gift to support my work, because the more supporters I have, the more I can free up my time from doing my real job to make content for all of you. And I like to think I'm getting a little bit better at the content making stuff. It is still new for me, I'm still figuring it out, but you all are very generous and I very much appreciate the support. Now, one of the benefits of supporting this content through Subscribestar is you get a shout out in one of my videos. And today I have 4 shout outs to give. So thank you to Prancing Alien, Christine, Valerie, and Caroline. I very much appreciate your support, and I couldn't do it without you. All right, let's jump into the nasty comments. So the first one is actually not a nasty comment at all. It's more of just me bragging and patting myself on the back a little bit, because a lot of people have asked me, did you knit the purple shawl you're wearing in the video? And yes, darling, of course I knitted the purple shawl. In fact, I was very adamant. I was like, you have to let me wear my shawl in the video. And so I don't think the director, I mean, I obviously, like, they could have probably said no, but they did, and we figured out a way for me to wear the shawl. I actually don't usually wear shawls like that with it draped over my shoulders, but hey, it worked for the video. I was happy that it got in there. They seemed to be happy with that solution, so yes, I made it. That one took me about like 4, maybe 5 weeks to knit. It wasn't that hard, it was just you had to pay attention to the design. All right, let's dig into the good stuff. And by the way, like, all these comments that I'm showing you, I typed them verbatim. I'm not going to show you like screenshots, or like the usernames behind them or where I got them. There were different platforms. I looked on Twitter, I looked on YouTube, and I looked on Instagram. But I don't want anyone to be like harassed or anything like that. And so what you see is exactly what they commented on, for better or worse. So this next one, this is fake, what the poop? I got a lot of comments like this saying, this story isn't real, this is just propaganda. No, it is a real story, and it did happen as it was depicted in the video. Now, of course, the video, because it's only 5 minutes long, had to leave a lot of stuff out. It made it seem like a rather simplistic journey, like, oh, this stuff happened in my knitting community, and then I went to the Trump rally and everyone was so nice. I mean, those components did happen, but there was also a lot of other things that happened in terms of getting introduced to my favorite YouTube channel. I pimp them all the time, Unsafe Space. That was one of the game changer things for me. I also made it a point to watch a lot of content from people who I thought I would disagree with over the course of many, many, many months. So basically a journey that started, I would say, in like June or July of last year, culminated with me going to the Trump rally in February of this year. So the timeline was really a lot longer, and there was a lot more involved, but the story as it was presented is completely truthful. Again, I had approval over the script, and I would not have approved something if it wasn't true to my story. In fact, we even had a little discussion. The script was edited slightly before we actually did the filming, and they were very gracious and were open to my feedback, and were very concerned that it was something that I was comfortable with. But it was absolutely 100% true. Let's keep going. Doesn't she mean Democratic voter, not independent voter? So what this person is referring to is, at the end, I do the typical, like, PragerU close, saying, like, I'm Carlin Borisenko, independent voter for Prager University. And so I specifically said independent voter. They actually did originally have Democratic voter in the script, but I'm not a Democrat anymore. I haven't been a Democrat in a while, and so we did end up changing that component. So yes, I am an independent. I am not a Republican. I am an independent. 2 days later, how I lost my job after visiting a Trump rally. So I wanted to highlight this comment specifically because first, I didn't lose my job. I work for myself, so it's pretty hard for me to lose my job. I did lose clients, though. I did lose clients after my Trump rally article went viral, and you know, that was a very real thing. But mostly I wanted to bring this up because I am frankly so sick of people on the right using this as an excuse to not show up. Yes, I lost clients for going to a Trump rally and having an article about my experience accidentally go viral. That was very real. But guess what else happened? I picked up clients on the other end, and so it all balanced out. It was fine. I had to tighten my belt for like a month or so, but it was really not that big of a deal. And if you lose your job for going to a Trump rally, guess what? You can get another job. It's all going to be fine. But I'm so sick of people on the right using this as an excuse. I have a job, I have kids, a lot of people do, man. A lot of people do. Listen, I was at a walkaway rally this past weekend, and we're going to talk more about walkaway later in this video. But I was at a walkaway rally this past weekend where over 800 people signed up to be there, and we're pretty sure that most of those were legit registrations. It wasn't like junky stuff that Democrats were doing, and only like a little over 100 actually showed up. And you know, this is something I've talked about. This is something Brandon Strzok from Walkaway has talked about. Conservatives, people on the right, you don't show up. And then you make bullshit excuses like this about why you don't show up, and it's nonsense. It is absolute nonsense. You have to stop making excuses. And I'll tell you what, man, if Donald Trump loses in November, and he very well could lose, it will be the fault of the people who did not show up. I'm going to save the rest of my rant on that one for a minute because we've got more of those coming up in the video. Let's keep going. This one right here. This comment is basically saying the same thing. I just wish she would stop berating people for not speaking out. I know she has the lefty narcissism still in her. You guys also don't know what the word narcissist means, P.S. But speaking out and for Trump or against lockdowns would cost me my job, even if I did it articulately. She can learn from us a while longer. If I was learning from conservatives, you know what I would do? I would keep my mouth shut and not say anything, and then there would have been no Trump rally article, and there would have been no PragerU video, and there'd be no YouTube channel because I'd be full of excuses about all the reasons I can't speak up. Now, you might not like my tone, but this is legit. I am not the only person saying that people on the right, people who support Trump, need to start speaking up about their political beliefs. I've said it. Brandon Strauch says it. Dave Rubin wrote a whole dang book about it. He's also done a PragerU video about it. Tim Pool has basically been screaming into his camera, so much so that he lost his voice at one point. Like, screaming about this. There have been many of us who have said exactly the same thing. Just because you don't want to hear it doesn't mean that I'm a narcissist for speaking up. Again, that's not what the word narcissist actually means anyway. Just because you disagree with someone doesn't actually make them a narcissist. So, okay, let's keep going. Lesbian. That was actually one of my favorite ones, and I knew it was coming because ever since I was in high school, people have mistaken me for a lesbian. I'm married to a dude, and there's nothing wrong with being a lesbian. If I was a lesbian, I'd be like, well, yeah, so what? But I happen not to be. I am married to a man. I like dick, all that stuff, whatever. Let's keep going. Grifters! Grifters, grifters, grifters. I did not get paid one dime to make the PragerU video, and I don't know what their relationships are with other people that do videos for them. I have no idea. And frankly, I don't particularly care to know. The only thing that I know is that I did not get paid to make the video, and I'm perfectly happy with that. I consider it to be an honor that I got to make the video just because, and so I'm perfectly happy with that. Not a grifter. I thought Carlin was now a Trump supporter. This video makes it sound like she supports Trump supporters, but not Republican ideology. Maybe I'm overthinking it. I'm still liberal. I've never stopped being liberal, and I'm not going to modify it and say classical liberal. I've been a liberal all my life. I'm not going to change how I perceive how I characterize my beliefs. Do I support Republican ideology? No. I mean, I think there are things that we overlap on. I think that I absolutely support civil liberties. I support First Amendment is kind of like the thing. Like, I'm a First Amendment absolutist, okay? And so on that point, we probably align. I have no issue with 2A. I never actually have had an issue with 2A. I think confiscation is stupid. Now, I'm also different on a lot of policies because I do tend to be more liberal. And I'm not going to go into that, and I'm not going to do a back and forth in this video, but the point of this story is not to support Trump. It's not to support Republicans. It's not to say, I was a lefty and I became a righty. It's not to do any of that. It's simply to say that my experience and perception with Trump supporters changed after the rally because I saw for myself emphatically that they weren't evil, racist people that I had been kind of hearing about in my echo chamber for years at that point. Wait, so she switched sides because there are nice people on the other side of the spectrum? Really dumb video. No, I didn't switch sides. I left the Democratic Party. I didn't join the Republican Party. I'm an independent. I think that both sides are frankly crazy. And it wasn't just because there were nice people on the other side of the spectrum. It was because seeing it for myself made it crystal clear how much the media had lied and how much I had taken it in and bought it hook, line, and sinker, and I knew that I needed to open up my mind after I saw it for myself and give Trump supporters another chance. Now, do I agree with everything Trump says? Absolutely not. Are there dicks on the Trump side? Oh my god. Dude? Oh my god, y'all have some bastards on your sides. And the thing that really drives me crazy about them, side note, the thing that really drives me crazy is the right doesn't own it. The right doesn't say, oh yeah, we have a few bad apples. If they did, I would have no problem with it. But every time someone on the right acts up and says stupid things, they're like, Carlin, don't you know? That is a secret leftist. No, it's not. No. Maybe every once in a while, but no, it's usually not. So no, I wouldn't say it's because I perceive the other side to be totally nice. It's that I perceive them not to be racist and Nazis. And there is actually, a difference between everyone being nice and everyone is racist and Nazis. There's a lot of gray area between that. She seems like a double agent. I don't even know what that means, really. I mean, I suppose in some respects I am, because There are some things that I agree with the right on. There are some things that I agree with the left on. So I suppose in some respects, I am indeed a double agent. Let's keep going. I know you claim to be an atheist, but... Now, I wanted to address this one specifically because this is actually a comment I get quite frequently. And I don't understand why, because I've never said I'm an atheist. In fact, I am not an atheist at all in any stretch of the imagination. I have no issue with people who are atheists. I don't really care. But I'm a spiritual person. I just happen to not be a Christian. And no, this is not an invitation to try to convert me to Christianity or say, Carlin, you really should have a relationship with Jesus. My relationship with Jesus is fine. And I don't believe in organized religion. So, you know, chill. I'm not an atheist. I'm not a Christian. I'm not a Jew. I'm not a Muslim. I'm not a Hindu. I'm not a Buddhist. I'm a deeply spiritual person that does not subscribe to any specific religion. I have my own belief system, okay? Relax. Are Trump supporters concerned that he is a habitual liar? Well, are Democratic voters concerned that the media lies to you all day, every day? There are liars on all sides of the spectrum. And honestly, if you investigate a lot of the things that the media says Trump is lying about, it's not really what you think it is. It's either Trump exaggerated, he misspoke, he you know, said something kind of like off the cuff. Like a lot of what the media says are lies are not actually lies. They're other things. And if you're intellectually honest, you can look at the reality, you can look at the video, what goes on, and you can acknowledge that. But to say that lies only occur on the Trump side, I mean, come on, that's just naive. Is this video saying that I should vote for whoever makes me feel better in a rally? No. In fact, those who've watched the video, as I know you all have, I never actually say who to vote for. Vote for whoever you want to vote for, because we all get a vote, and we all get to be the decider of how we use that vote. Some people are absolutely going to cast their vote for people who make them feel better at a rally. Absolutely. It will 100% happen. And frankly, the Democrats should hope and pray that people do not make that choice, because Trump will beat them every step of the way. If Trump will start figuring out how to have rallies just to be able to beat them using that, because Trump rallies are way more fun than Democratic rallies. I want to post this to my story so badly, but I'm positive I will get torn down by every Democrat I know. And this is just another example, I'm sorry, of the cowardice of the right. You see, listen, I'm taking both sides to task in the making of this particular video, which is something I'm more than happy to do. But if you want to post the video, post the video. Don't be a coward. This is a time to be brave and to say what you think. And if you wake up the day after the election in November and you don't get the outcome that you wanted, if you're not speaking up, that's your fault. You have to take responsibility. If you want a certain outcome in this election, if you like the video, if you like the story, share it. And the video itself is not even a political video. It's not saying who to vote for. Vote for whoever you want. This is simply a video about understanding that Trump supporters are not Nazis. That's all it is. Give me a break. What you're seeing under the current president is nothing but doom and gloom. You've been had, lady, oh have I. Just because people are enthused at a rally doesn't make them informed or make Trump a great leader. What I've learned about people who support Trump is even if he says the stupidest, most ignorant shit, they'll still find a way to be enthused. And I wanted to address this one specifically because of the line about doesn't make them informed. Trump supporters are significantly more informed than most people on the left. Like Mike Harlow, who has a channel, who you guys should all go subscribe to Mikey's channel because Mikey's awesome. But he was telling me the other day that he has this shirt that says something like, "Thank God I'm not a Democrat." It says more than that. I can't remember exactly what it says, but and he was wearing it in New York City, walking down the street, and a woman stopped him and was like, You're not a Democrat? How can you not be a Democrat? It was like actually like having a moment. And Mikey tried to talk policy with her because he understands this stuff. And she kept saying, well, Trump's a racist, Trump's a racist, Trump's a racist. And Mikey was like, okay, which of his policies are racist? And she couldn't name any. And that's what they do. Now, Mikey could name that he really liked the First Step Act. He could name a lot of stuff that Trump had done that he really liked and kept asking for an example from her of something that Trump had done that was racist. And she said, oh, well, he just is. And that's pretty indicative, honestly, of most of the conversations that I've had with people on the left in the last several months. Is you call the right ignorant, you call Trump supporters ignorant, but then you, in your own words, express your own ignorance, man. Stop saying that they're not informed. They are actually some of the more well-read. The people on the right that I interact with these days are much more well-read than people on the left every day of the week. Because the people on the left are reading things like New York Times and Washington Post, which, spoiler alert, they're lying to you. They're lying to you. And if you read publications that were outside your echo chambers or books or other perspectives, you'd know pretty quickly that they're lying to you. Let's keep going. There isn't an argument here. People who think Trump supporters are evil think they're evil because of the man they support and the policies they support. The fact that Trump rallies are fun shouldn't matter. It should matter how the policies affect everyone, not how funny the president is. I'm not making any voting decisions based on how funny I think Donald Trump is, even though I do think he's hilarious. He is hilarious on several different levels. I will be making my voting decisions based on the fact that the left has fallen off a cliff and has gone into crazy town. And I want to make this clear because I was actually very mindful, and I think PragerU was also very mindful in the making of the video not to take any positions. I did not take a position in that video. All I said is, here is my story. So the video is not advocating for left or right. It's not advocating for Biden or Trump. It is a completely, pretty much neutral video. Now, the left might not perceive it to be neutral simply because I left their side and went to sit in the middle in between both sides. So I guess they might not consider it to be a neutral act, but the right doesn't consider it to be like a completely affirmative act either, because I didn't become a Republican. And in fact, when I wrote my original article about this experience, I had not even decided to vote for Donald Trump at that point. So I am making my decision based on how insane the left is. My vote for Donald Trump is, in many respects, going to be a vote against the Democratic Party, because I do not believe that they deserve to be in power, and I would feel less safe and secure in this country if they were. Now, is that to say that Donald Trump is a perfect man? Absolutely not. No. He is not a perfect man. But I trust him to rebuild the economy. I actually think that he is better overall for African Americans. I like that before the pandemic, the lowest African-American unemployment rate in history. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And low unemployment overall. Listen, man, I'm an organizational psychologist. I like when people have jobs. I think, frankly, a lot of the things that are going on in the country right now would not be happening if more people had jobs. Now, do I trust Donald Trump to rebuild the economy? Or do I trust Joe Biden? Well, Donald Trump was presiding over the best economy in history before we got hit with a pandemic that was not his fault. And frankly, the fact that we haven't completely rebounded yet, I blame the Democrats more than anything else, because they're the ones that are running the cities that are the worst hit. They keep shutting everything down. So Trump doesn't get any blame on the economy not being where it was in my book. That goes squarely on the Democrats. Let's keep going. This is the dumbest video I've ever seen. This woman clearly isn't informed on policy at all. Like most Trump supporters, she's hypnotized by a charismatic snake oil salesman, and more than anything, I pity her. I just thought this one was funny. I don't really have much of a response to it other than things I've already said, and to just make fun of this person a little bit. You think I'm hypnotized, darling? Okay. All right. Let's keep going. Shouldn't she be with Walkaway? I am with Walkaway. I wrote about Walkaway in my original article, and believing originally, because Rachel Maddow told me, I believed originally that Walkaway was fake. It was all Russian bots, because that's what Rachel Maddow said on MSNBC. Walkaway actually ended up being a key part of my journey in terms of I met people from Walkaway. I met real people who, you know, a lot of them still had liberal values, but they sounded like me, and they weren't happy with the way the Democratic Party was running. They weren't happy with what's going on, and so they walked away. Now, I actually am doing these walkaway rallies right now. I actually just got back from Baltimore. I was there the other day for the walkaway rally there that you guys didn't show up for. And come on, guys, like, Brandon's going to be organizing these rallies and doing them all across the country. This weekend he's got one in Sacramento. The next week after that, on August 8th, I, along with Mikey Harlow and many other people I'm sure, will be out in Los Angeles for the walkaway rally. So for everyone that's in the Los Angeles area, I don't want to hear any dang excuses about why you can't come out to the walkaway rally on August 8th, because we're all going to be there. I am flying across the country for it. If I can put aside what I have going on to fly across the country to see you in Los Angeles, you can get off the couch and come to the rally. Lol, she's a white woman. Of course she wouldn't experience harassment or care about policies that don't affect her. As though, I mean, come on, like, aren't women supposed to be one of the marginalized? And all of a sudden, because I said that Trump supporters are not Nazis, I've, like, apparently lost my woman card. Also, who drops their political beliefs after going to one rally? She's part of Walkaway, so she's definitely sold out some of her beliefs. So let me just take this bit by bit. She's a white woman, so of course she wouldn't experience harassment. I live in New Hampshire. Everyone's white, okay? Not everyone, like 97% of the people in New Hampshire are white. Like, it's a ridiculously small number of people who are not white. So, you know, of course, there was going to be majority white at the Trump rally. But I'm going to tell you this. I was actually shocked at the diversity of the Trump rally. I continue to be shocked. Every time I go to something on the right, like CPAC was incredibly diverse. The rally, you know what's funny about the walkaway rally in Baltimore this past weekend? Is there were Black Lives Matters protesters there. They were off in a little corner. They didn't cause any trouble. They were fine. The majority of them were white. The majority of the protesters for the Black Lives Matters protesters at the Baltimore walkaway rally were white. I'm pretty sure that at least half of the attendees for the actual rally were black, okay? Most of, or people of color, because there were some Latinos there, definitely. So the majority of the people that were actually there for the walkaway rally were people of color. I'm pretty sure. I was just eyeballing it, but that's what I noticed. The majority of the Black Lives Matters protesters were white, so whatever. Also, who drops their political beliefs after going to one rally? I didn't drop my political beliefs after going to one rally, as I've already explained, and she's part of Walkaway, so she's definitely sold out some of her beliefs. When I originally joined Walkaway, and this was actually like way back before I went to the Trump rally, I actually said I was never going to vote for Donald Trump. I did. When I posted my original Walkaway testimonial, if you're in the Walkaway group on Facebook, it's still there. You can find it. I said emphatically I wasn't going to vote for Donald Trump. Now, of course, I got all these responses saying, yes, you will. And I said, no, I won't. And they said, yes, you will, Carlin, give it time. Of course, they ended up being right. But the thing about Walkaway is that what they say is like Walkaway is a journey. It's not a destination. You don't have to vote for Donald Trump to walk away from the Democratic Party. Vote for whoever you want to vote for, except for the freaking Democrats, because they represent insanity. Vote for a third party. Don't vote at all. Whatever. Vote for Trump. Whatever you want to do. But you are not required to vote for Donald Trump to be in Walkaway. In fact, there are a lot of people who have walked away from the Democratic Party. Carrie Smith from Unsafe Space, I think, is one of them. Carrie hasn't decided to vote for Donald Trump yet. I think she's still kind of figuring out what she wants to do. You don't have to be a Trump supporter to be in Walkaway. Let's keep going. Got a couple more. Wow, I guess you don't read the nasty name-calling, immature, rude, disrespectful comments I read from Republicans about Democrats like demon rats, libtards, snowflakes, etc. Members of both need to stop acting like 12-year-old bullies. I agree with you. I read Republicans, the Riot Act, all the time for using those stupid insults. I do. Like, and if I could eliminate the word libtard from everyone's vocabulary, I think the world would be a better place for it. To be fair, though, people on the left have tried to appropriate the term snowflake, and so, you know, if they throw it back at you after you've thrown it at them, like, you don't have much sympathy from me. But overall, I actually agree with this. I think people should stop name-calling. I think it's absurd and doesn't actually help the situation at all. You should chat with fellow Culture Wars, that should be Wars, not Wards, Culture Wars veteran from the UK named Sargon of Akkad and compare your wombs from your battles in different subcultures. Now, I specifically wanted to address this because I've actually had a couple questions about, like, or people saying I should chat with Sargon lately. I was actually going to. What happened was one of you guys, someone that watches my videos, sent him a super chat on one of his live streams and said, you should talk to Carlin, and he basically said something like, oh, yeah, like, tell her to reach out to me. And I was kind of like, I don't really pimp myself out for stuff like this. I'm like, but my husband said, oh, you should just send him a message on his Facebook. And so I did. And I said, hey, one of my supporters super chatted. They said they wanted us to talk. I've been hearing about it from them too, whatever. And so they never actually wrote me back. They never responded. And so I was kind of like, well, whatever. I'm not going to pimp myself out. Like, well, you guys don't understand. Like, I don't actually, like, all the media stuff you guys have seen me do, I don't pimp myself out for that. Like, they contact me and say, we want you to talk about this thing. And I say, okay, sure. But I think it's like it's smarmy for some reason, whatever. So I kind of waited a couple weeks, and then people kept saying to me, like, he's complaining about white fragility, and so I was like, oh, I wrote them back and said, you know, just following up on this, maybe we could talk about white fragility, because I had been complaining about it too. And I actually heard back from his people, and they were like, yeah, let's find a time, let's, you know, what would work for you to do a stream and all that. And so we were actually coordinating this. And then Sargon put me on blast on Parler to his 60,000 followers for a situation that he misread and frankly misinterpreted, and it pissed me off. Now, he was not like, okay, my perception of this, and I really didn't pay that much attention. I didn't actually think he was like exceptionally rude or like kind of a bastard in doing it, but it still was really uncalled for, and it still pissed me off because he said I was acting with animus, which I wasn't. He said I was being confrontational, which I wasn't. And it really just pissed me off that he put me on blast on Parler, and I had to hear about it for the whole rest of the day from all these people who were tagging me and things and being uppity bastards. And so I essentially emailed his guy back, and I was like, you know what, like, no, forget it. Like, I don't want to have a conversation with someone who's going to do that to me and completely misread a situation. It's not like Sargon reached out to me and asked me any questions or even spoke to me directly that I'm aware of. So that kind of pissed me off, and so I kind of took it off the table. If Sargon wants to talk to me, then he can reach out to me and ask me. That's my position going forward. All right, and the last one, and I wanted to end on a good one, and this one just made me really happy. My 7-year-old walked in when I started watching. She said, Dr. Carlin is on Prager and sat to watch with me. You're doing important work. Thank you for becoming my kids' Sally Jesse when it comes to teaching them about race. And this one just made me really, really happy because Sally Jesse was actually one of the people that I learned about this stuff from. I remember I sat and watched Sally Jesse with my grandmother for hours and hours and hours at a time, every single day. It was one of my favorite shows. And, you know, Sally Jesse always talked about how people are people and you just treat everyone the same. And I think that's a pretty good rule to go by. Alright guys, that's all I've got. I hope you enjoyed the video. I really hope you enjoyed the PragerU video. Obviously I was much more dolled up in that one than I am now. But I will be back at you with another video very, very soon.